All right, just sitting down. Wow, that might be the most abrupt start to a video ever that I've ever had. Oh, sorry for the chair squeaking. Also, shout out to my friend's startup thing, but it's not a startup like the cringy startup. It's a startup that he's genuinely passionate about. It's called RevSync. It's for cars and things of that nature because he loves vehicles. All right. So I'm opening up my journal, and you might be asking, "Wow, well, excuse me. This is my 12th video, and what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm basically just gonna outline history of my life. Um, I wrote it in my journal, but it's something I also want to speak out loud because I feel like it would be important. Because journaling things is one thing. So I'm gonna say this. So I have multiple different methods to like talk about different things, right? So I have this channel, which is like a video journal. Then I have my actual journal, and it's like when I'm writing in my journal, it's where I can just write anything, you know? Obviously, I can't make a video on anything because I would get banned and slash or banned. So, no, I don't actually write horrible things, but some stuff, I would rather keep private. And so I basically write in my journal a bunch of stuffs um, and things. And it's almost like through my writing, it could start off as something that's anxious writing, where I'm like, my mind is spinning, and then slowly journaling, writing stuff down helps calm me down, and I can find, some type of flow even through the really fast current, I guess you could say. And and then the video journals is where I can like speak out loud, and what I'm saying I can kind of realize what's going on type shit. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna do is give life background. Um, so yesterday was my second EMDR appointment. Second one, guys, second. And the first one was me giving a lot of background in terms of my current situation. And then the second one was kind of me talking about my I need some water. Yummers. The second one was kind of me talking about my past a little bit more. We did do a little bit of EMDR work where essentially whenever my mind gets super foggy, cloudy, etc., things of that nature, I find a place in my mind where I feel peaceful, where I feel calm. And I watched a video about the cloud forests, like a restoration project happening in the cloud forest in Colombia. I think they're in Colombia. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but and yes, that scene kept coming up in my mind where people are like hiking through. And then eventually my mind just shifted and started thinking about Suchomimus. And so I would just think about Suchomimus eating fish. And that was pretty that was pretty awesome. Um yeah, so that happened, and then if I move this hand, okay, that goes right. So my camera over here is flipped because you can't read what it says there. So, but you can. People who know, it's probably very popular. So yeah, so that's the EMDR stuff I did to just find a calm point while I do some like tapping to myself to kind of release tension, kind of process whatever's going on. All right, and after I came out the meeting, I was able to kind of reflect a little bit, think a little bit just about like my history. I had a call with my mom, talked to my mom a little bit, um, and that was pretty good. And so basically, with without telling the story of my father or members of my family, basically what I can say is that my dad has a lot of, you know, pain and trauma and stuff. And it's kind of like when people talk about generational trauma, that's kind of essentially what's going on, where one person was raised in a certain ecosystem, certain atmosphere where there are certain things, and they never got to learn how what to do with their pain, and the only thing they knew how to do was to take that pain and basically just you know send it off into someone else, and that person became someone else's father, and then the same thing kept happening, same thing kept happening. And this is going for all the males in the family. For all the women in the family, it was probably different, where they got this pain and they didn't know what to do with it, because in at least the culture that my dad grew up in and that I witnessed from my family members when I visited my um, family members back in our home country and hometowns and stuff like that, there was a lot of where the women were do all the domestic labors for the women to do, and they have no choice but to do it, and they're kind of just there as pretty much like an asset. And the wealthier you get, the less domestic labor the women do, because then you just hire a person, usually a woman, to just come and do the work for you. Um, and so that's basically kind of explaining what the family structure is like. And so my father, he has a lot of stuff from his upbringing and from his marriage with my mother, and it he has nowhere to go with all of this pain that he has. He has nowhere to go with all this trauma. Now, does he actually have nowhere to go? No, he has places to go, but he doesn't know what to do with it, because where we as in where he grew up, there was no like therapy or anything, and he thinks that therapy is kind of useless or whatever. Why would I talk to other people when my family can just do stuff for me? Because the structure he grew up in was like family, family, family. Always keep good relationships with people. Always stay close to people. Do this, do that, no matter what. Um, and so what he would do is he would take this out on my mother and I. And at first, it would be extremely physical. So he was physically abusive towards my mother and I. And because my mom also grew up in a similar structure, but she is a woman, and then seeing what from what she knew what happens in the household, what my dad was doing to us in the household, she also would hit me. And so like getting beatings as a kid constantly, no matter what. If I did make a mistake in something, if I didn't make a mistake in something, there was no teaching what is right, there's no teaching what is wrong. Oh, it's just punishing, and from that punishing you have to learn. So as a kid, no matter what I would do, I was never taught what was right. I was never taught what would be better to do in a situation, because right and wrong is not it. Everything is black and white, but I was never taught how to navigate situations in a better way. I was always just punished for what I did wrong. And so instead of going through something, finding and building myself up, all that would happen is like I would just get hit, and it would just like put an X mark off of all the infinite possibilities of things that could have happened in that situation. So I just mark, okay, don't do that next time. And I never understood why. And so I also witnessed, like I said, my father being physically abusive to my mom. I also had to witness that. And so I have all this trauma, all this pain and stuff. And my therapist was saying that as a kid, when you go through these things, you don't have anywhere to take it, right? As a young person, you don't know what to do with it, because in my case scenario, my dad always reinforced, your parents are your gods. Your parents are your gods. They are the people who will take care of you. They're the people you have to respect most. We are your gods, type of thing. And and so from that teaching, of course, I would never look at my parents and be like, think of them super negatively. And I could never go to them to talk about anything, because, I would just get beat. And my mom, she had a lot of her own struggles as well. But I just never felt safe as a kid. And because I didn't have anywhere to go with all of this pain that I kept on receiving, that kept getting passed down to me and through beatings and emotional abuse and physical abuse and verbal abuse, I essentially had to look for a way wherever I could go outside of the household because in the household I wasn't safe. Um, and Eventually it got to the point where I was like 11 or 12 years old. I forced my mom to stop hitting me because I could trust her a little bit more. I was like, "Can you stop hitting me, please?" And she's like, "Okay, you're old enough to where we don't have to hit you anymore or something." But and eventually that moved over to my father as well. My father stopped hitting us, but then it just became extremely verbally and emotionally abusive. Um, the situation became, and he became like that, very emotionally manipulative, all these different things, and so he would now let out all this pain and stuff through there. Towards once again my mother and I, and then after my sister came along, she was too young, but to my sister a little bit, to an extent as well. Um, and then I also started trying to talk to my mom more. I mean, there's a lot of different things that happen um, in their family, but my mom turned to alcohol to kind of help herself, and she abused alcohol to the point where one day I hear like a thud or something upstairs, and it's just my sister and I don't know if my dad was home, and then I go upstairs and I look in um, her bathroom, and she's just like passed out on her own throw up, and I'm like, oh my god, as like a 12-year-old kid, a 13-year-old kid, seeing that is obviously horrible. And um, so it's felt like, and my mom has definitely grown a tremendous amount, and I'm very happy for her. So basically, yeah, that. So, and the household never felt safe. And then outside the house, I would try to find friends, an escape from all of the horrible stuff that would happen at home. And I did end up having friends, of course, but the friends that I made weren't, they didn't treat me right, and it kind of became an extension of what the household was, except now they were just bullying me for how I looked, for things I said, the way I acted, all these different things. um, and I took their bullying because I didn't really know where else I would go. I didn't know what else I would do. I couldn't make any other friends besides them. Well, I could, but I was kind of socially, not the best socially, so I just kept whatever friends I had. And excuse me. And I just forced it through me. I just took all the bullying, and so I took even more pain. And again, I did not know what to do with it. Now I had this household stuff. Now I had my friends doing stuff, and I didn't know anywhere to go with it. I didn't understand what was right or wrong. And as a kid, like, these things just happened subconsciously. Um, and then I started participating in the same thing where I started actively taking part in my own bullying, and I would make fun of people a little bit, but I could never do that much because I just like couldn't do that to people, right? I couldn't really make fun of people a bunch. Um, I do remember me doing it though. And so then the cycle continued, and like no matter how much older I grew, how the friends changed around me, I didn't really have a home to go to, like a safe place to go to. Like I had my house, but it's still very abusive. Um, and basically, last year I started to figure out more of this stuff in terms of who I am, what I've been through, different things. And eventually it got to the point where this year, I transferred to a new university, and a lot of rapid growth, blah, 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 stuff happening. And then I met the friends that I found now, the online friends, but mainly one person. And then they were kind of representative of the complete opposite of what I've experienced my entire life, right? Um, it's like you go from one end of the spectrum straight to the other, and you see how amazing it is to and odd it is to be treated like a normal human being. Um, and and then because it was such an odd situation for me where I just went from one polar well, not one polar opposite, but I went from one end all the way to the other end of how, you know, people can be and how genuine people can be and stuff. And like it shouldn't be like two polar opposites, you know, it should be like genuine treatment and care for people and kindness should just be baseline. It should just be something that would be basic, but I'd never received that in my life through someone who I considered close to me. And then that's why I ended up, you know, getting super deep feelings for this person. And my therapist asked me yesterday, like, do you think this is because of who this individual is, like who they are, or do you think it's because all of what they represented? And of course, he said it's going to be a mix of both, but what do you think is more of? And thinking about it, I was like, you know, to an extent, it is because of who they are, but moreover, it's what this person has represented of what they've showed me. And so I've become just like incredibly attached to them because of what like kindness and genuine human treatment they've given me, right? Um, and it's obviously something that I have to keep in mind going forward, and also as I work through EMDR, um, you know, things will slowly start to change in that. But as I get more people who are genuine people, like a better community in my life, I think I have to keep in mind that no matter how people treat me, I have to remember that, like, I guess not to like fall for them or something. Um, and yeah, so that basically it. And it's now not so like this person was a. It's like, hmm, how do I phrase this? I mean, my situation is just really odd, but it's not that odd. It's odd for me, but this has probably happened a lot of times before. Um, so now it's just about like working through it, getting more comfortable in myself, with myself, realizing that, you know, all the anxieties and different things that I have behind me in my head aren't always right, and kind of grounding myself whenever things happen. Um, so yeah, I don't even know what else to really talk about. I guess I could, you know, spend the rest whatever time, however long this is gonna be, rambling a little bit. So I I want to get Obsidian, you know, like the writing service, because I realized that my I have like this one big bubble, right? Which is where all my values and different things derive from. And it's like non-linear. Like nothing's linear where it's like, oh, this leads to this, this leads. It's like this goes here, oh, but they also connect and then they lead to different things and then they lead to different things together and blah 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 blah. Like a giant, massive bubbly do, right? And it all comes from my central thing, which is like being against any structured hierarchies, being against any exploitation, any oppression, and different things. And there is obviously nuance in all of that, which is where those little bubbles will come out. But like that's kind of how my entire worldview has been built. Like my progressive views on everything is, of course, because I believe in equality for all, and a lot of things in today's day are extremely unequal. So that's like where my super progressive views come from, because I truly believe in equality for all people. Because um I believe in more of like, when it comes to society structure, it's horizontal, you know? Like we all are a community that help each other, rather than one person being here and then other people being here. And yeah, and then yeah, like that's basically where my views and stuff come from. So I want to get, and now that I have a lot of time on my hands since I don't have class and I'm a jobless bum, I want to spend some time expanding on some of my views, just writing them out, and then maybe I can slowly start building some more thought out essays and papers and different things. But that's, I just want to get like the basics of that done. Um, and eventually, if you guys would like to see that, and by you guys, I have like zero views on most of my videos, but like if someone sees this and they'd like to see kind of my thoughts and my writings and different things, I'd love to engage with different people on stuff, have like a healthy discussion, um, which can benefit, you know, both parties, in learning more, challenging different views, all this different stuff. I'll definitely be open to that. Um, but yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna go now. Maybe play some video games. I just watched the Congo Democratic Republic of the Congo play England, and I'm pretty upset that the Congo lost, but they they did their best, and that's what matters. Belgium, Senegal. Well, might watch this. Might watch this, but we'll see. Alright. Anyway, for the time being, I am probably gonna go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna I actually want to switch my streaming from my Twitch onto my YouTube and start streaming on YouTube, but um, I might figure that out and just start streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful, great rest of your day / night. Whoa. Man, I'm handsome, bro. Man, I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Look at me. I'm one beautiful person. I want to grow this out like what is that? Is that sauce? Oh hell no. I got sauce on my. I made this whole video with sauce over there. Wait, let me show you guys what type of facial hair I want. Real quick. I gotta find the video. Damn, bro, I got sauce on me. Yeah. Oh, this right here. I can't hear it. You guys probably can. But look at him. Oh my god, he's so fucking hot. Look, he got the whole goatee shit going, bro. He looks so good, man. But he doesn't have it connected. So I want like that, but I don't want it to connect. God. Damn, he looks so good, bro. Zoom in on his face for me. Let me see his facial hair. Dude, this shit is fire, bro. Alright, I gotta go now. I will stream on my Twitch. Alright, goodbye.